In this video, we're going to do a full tutorial on how to service the IC valves on Zodiac boats. Before we remove these valves, we're going to see what the spring tension is on the pressure relief system. So what I'm going to use is my 10mm socket. I'm going to slowly turn it in to see how many rotation it is on the nut there, so I know what to set it at afterwards. And as you can see, I've got it to 3 3/4 of a turn, just gently, and now I'm just going to release all the tension off and pull out the valve. Pull out the inner nut so you don't lose it and put it off to the side. And now I'm going to try to twist this valve out since it's all seized. In the event that you can't twist it out, use a flathead screwdriver or a pry bar and slowly and gently pull it out. I'm just going to throw the valve and the spring in this bucket here so I can clean them off with some degreaser and remove all the old grease that was seizing it up. Alright, so now I'm going to soak the parts in some degreaser, let it break down for a while and remove all that grease, and then wipe off the parts. And you'll have to do the same thing for the inner valve body as well. Now that the valve and the spring have been soaking for a little while, let's wipe them off with a clean rag and get them ready to be reinstalled. Make sure you clean off all that old grease from the inner valve body and all the crevices. Now let's get the inner valve body cleaned using a Q-tip or a screwdriver with a clean cloth, and just go inside there, clean up all the sides and the surfaces and get all that old grease and that debris removed. Using some fresh marine grease, let's grease the valve body and get it ready to be reinstalled. You don't want to overdo it, you just want to put a nice layer of grease on the valve body so that it can turn freely inside the inner valve body. Install the spring in the valve body so you can help guide it into its slot. Be sure to install the nylon nut correctly and not upside down. Using a small 10mm socket, as you can see, I'm just going to get the nut started so we can get the spring tension set right afterwards. Using our 10mm deep socket, let's set the spring tension now. If you don't have the Zodiac tool to set the spring tension, just remember what we set from before, 3 3/4 of a turn. Let's rotate the air valve now to make sure she's rotating nicely in the assembly. And now we're going to just put a slight little bit of grease on the seal so she doesn't dry out and she seals up nicely. So now that we've got these valves all serviced, we're going to make sure they operate all nicely here. So what we're going to do is we're going to turn it to the dial so it points down. Pull the cap off and make sure she doesn't leak. This way you know the valve is set properly here. See, as you can see, so she is set, she's not leaking. So in the event that your dial is not set properly, you will have to remove the valve. Pull out this circlip right here. Twist it until it's set properly, and then reinstall the circlip. We're also going to test the pressure relief valve built-in system on this. Just pull it out. It's good to go. The reason why we're testing that is so we know if the boat does overinflate, the spring is going to spring into action and relieve the pressure. Now sometimes the string will come off the cap of the valve, so I'm going to show you guys how to fix this. Using a 90-degree pick, just go on the slight edge there and pull out the cap seal, pull out the old string, and install your new string. After you've got the new string installed, reinstall the cap seal and put a little bit of grease in there so it doesn't dry up again, and reinstall the valve. Let's give a big shout out to our new channel member subscriber, Jim McKelvey. Thank you very much for the support.